GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello traders, hello everybody, welcome back. As always, we have another video for you. My name is Dimo. We have a week in the markets, market analysis, going over some high probability charts this week. And if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. If not, then welcome back. And I will start and have a look at what we've got for the economic calendar. As always, also we'll have a little review, some of the overlapping charts from last week that carry over to this week, and reanalyzing, readjusting with the market to continue on the high probability setup, adjust your view and go with what the market tells us. All right, so let's have a look at what we've got this week and where we're at. I've picked out a few charts. You're always welcome to remember to like and subscribe and post your charts or ideas below if you want to have a little bit of interaction and get a review of your own setups and what you've been looking at. Right, let's begin. So Monday, usually the quietest day. We've got bank holiday on from both Canada and the US. On Tuesday, there's PMI on the pound. We've got CPI numbers on the CAD, and we've got PMI numbers on dollar. Wednesday is the one to pay attention to because we've got the rate statement from New Zealand, and we've got FOMC. Usually that's a big one to watch out for on the dollar. And it's also the first day of the G20 meetings. Now, G20 meetings can be a little bit unpredictable in a sense that there's no fixed time. So bear that in mind, that things can happen. But if you manage your risk, then you should be fine. Thursday, we've got GDP quarterly numbers on the dollar, and there's a bank holiday on the yen. And again, G20 meetings, the second day of that on Thursday. And on Friday, it's a quiet day, but there is the third day of the meetings. So let's see if those 3 days spring up any surprises, or if not, either way, the price action will be the main factor. If you've been with me for a while, you know that price action is king here, and that's what we pay attention to. So let's see where the probabilities are in our favor with the price action and what the charts are showing at the moment. Okay. Right, let's begin. We've got a couple of new ones from last week. Let's start with the majors always. This week I have picked New Zealand dollar. What we've got on the New Zealand dollar is we could see we had an impulse move here, just pinged above these structural highs, and we have several weeks of weakness in the New Zealand dollar. And now we haven't quite broken the low of January, the low of the current year here. So I'll be looking for that to break, for the market to continue heading lower. You can see last week was a bearish move there. So here's that low, just a reference point, and the next reference point I'll be looking to trade into would be here and then possibly here. So this gap you see in the market, if you want to draw a fib just to make it more clear for you, here's the high, and you can see here's that 50% level. Here's the 61.8. So if we continue lower, I'll be looking for the market to reach into that, but that is contingent on us closing below this low over here and breaking through. And what that would give us an indication of is further weakness. It would look like so, and any pullback and then a continuation to the downside would be this move here. So that's the short idea. Now, if we get a break above this high, it would invalidate the whole idea, and then we are more likely to be heading higher on New Zealand dollar than lower. So I'm going to wait for the market to tell us what it wants to do. The moment, because of the weakness, the signs of weakness, more favoring the downside, particularly with what we've got on the dollar, which is strength on dollar at the moment. So that's New Zealand dollar there. Prefer the sell side. Now let me go to another pair. Let's go to euro pound. So euro pound is what we were looking at last week. Watched for this zone for the market to bounce off that to continue on the bullishness. We had a very weak let me rephrase that so it's easier. We had a very a sell week, a week to short the market. So the market was very weak, let's say, in that last week. And I was looking at this zone, and we broke through, and then just about broke through, and then had this big bullish candle to move to the upside. And I was looking to break this high, which indeed it did. And as you can see, that was a plan to go up. Now, we did have that bullish momentum, and now we are slightly breaking down. We are in this range here. So the next thing that I'll be looking for with this situation, now that we've broken higher, it looks like we want to continue higher, is this area right here. And for the market to drop into that, give us a better price, and then continue to the upside, creating new swings, and ultimately to this high right here. So that's what I'm seeing as the high probability scenario. In this case, now that we've got this push away, we left a gap in the price, and obviously you can see we haven't even, you could just eyeball it from here to here. We haven't even reached the halfway mark, so I'm going to wait for that retracement. And then once I see that the market gives us some positive price action to the upside, that is the high probability scenario there. Okay, so the invalidation mark, as always, will be this low over here. So that will give us the idea of where the market would not be heading higher. If it breaks this low, the indication is that we are possibly going lower, or the probabilities would just drop and not be in your favor anymore. So that's the idea on the euro pound. The next one I'm going to move into is another pound pair, pound yen. So here we go. Let's look at the weekly. You can see the previous weeks we have been in a ranging market here. I marked out previously this area right here as somewhere to look out for. We haven't yet reached that. Let me just delete these lines just so it's much cleaner, much simpler. And yeah, as you can see, we had this consolidation phase here. We didn't break higher, and only now we are doing so. So what does that mean? Let me just clear this up, right, so that it's much easier. Clear all of this up. So now that we are reaching into this area, and I marked this area out as the point where we'll be interested in, you can see this big gap in the price in the market from this extreme high to this extreme low. You can see here's the 61.8 level, and I'll be looking for the market to reach higher and then reverse to the downside. So if you look on the weekly, we have this weakness, then we have this ranging market, and this is the kind of retracement, and it's very, very slow, very would have really created havoc for many people going up and down in this range. So I'll be looking for the market to do something off here, and if we get that reversal, then coming lower to the downside, and this should be a nice move down. That's a very big juicy move there, isn't it? That's if it happens. So if that is the case, there is two ways to do it, either from here when it reverses, or waiting for the move to the downside, and as ever it pull back to a better price, and then a continuation from there, something like that. It's just a rough idea, yeah. I'm not saying that the market will do exactly that. So that's what I'm looking for on the pound yen, and the weakness there, and continuation of the bullishness of the strength in the yen. And the strength in the yen would mean weakness for pound yen. So that's the idea on pound yen. Let's move on to the next one. We've got Euro New Zealand. Remembering we do have major New Zealand news this week. What do we have on New Zealand? Well, we can see that we had this impulse move up, breaking the structures, the retracement, and now this looks like it's a continuation to ultimately possibly the upside here. Last week we closed bullish. You can see that bullish candle engulfing, and I'm looking for the continuation to the upside. continuing on that bullishness. Now, here's a break of the week before, here's last week, and then if you want, you can draw a level here. So if we drop down into this level, see we also have, if you want to draw a fib from the low, current low to the high, you can see that here's the 50 level, a 60, 18 here, or 78 will be a nice cheaper price. So if that happens, then this will be definitely a more high probability cheaper price to get in on, and the first target would be up here, and the invalidation will be this low down here, this very bottom. Let me just delete this fib. So there you go. If we don't get that drop, then a break of this high would be the other possibility, and then move higher, and then a pullback as ever to a better price, and then continuing to the upside. So that's the other option here, just giving ourselves some options for what the market may do. We never know, and just act accordingly and manage your risk, of course, as always. So I'll be looking for this area right here. Let me just put a marker here. Here's that area, and this will be the favored scenario, Euro New Zealand to the buy side in terms of probability. And if it doesn't do that and it breaks lower, then we're going to scrap this idea and just reassess later on when the time comes, perhaps next week. Remembering the New Zealand rate announcement this week, so the volatility may begin to kick in then, and that's about, if I'm not mistaken, that was Wednesday, wasn't it? Okay, next let's have a look at the NASDAQ, NAS 100. So this is what I looked at last time, was looking for price to reach into this area. We didn't have that. We have been ranging. Last week was an inside bar. So this week I'll be looking for that possible continuation to the upside. At the moment we're in a range. Looking at last week, I was expecting this area to bounce from, which we did, and then we went lower once again. So now, where are we? Let's reassess this situation. And the situation we're in now is we are in this consolidation phase. So if we are going to reach higher, then the confirmation for that would be a break of these structure highs, and then a move higher, a possible pullback, and then continuing to this zone. And if it doesn't, if it actually breaks lower below this level, which is the extreme current low structure, then breaking lower and then some kind of pullback to a better price and continuing to the downside would be the idea there. So at the moment, because of this consolidation, because of this ranging market, it's hard to tell where we're going. I don't want to be acting too soon. I want to see what the market tells us before jumping in, before making any decision. So that's the analysis for NAS. Here's what it looks like on the daily. You can see it's clearly ranging, and we may reach towards that, we may not. Let's see where we go from here. So need a bit of patience required. We may continue ranging for another week and even 2 weeks. No idea. The market could do anything it wants to do. That's where risk management comes in. But if these scenarios play out, then I would be more interested, and the probabilities would be more in our favor. Okay, let's move on to oil. Oil has been one that we've been looking at for a while, hasn't it? So as you can clearly see, oil has been in a ranging market now for quite some time. This is quite a few weeks. So what is going to happen with oil? Well, we don't know. This was the area I was looking at, as you can see, and we have had this ranging movement on this area. So now the question becomes, where are we going to go from here on oil? So it's ranging. We do not know, and because we do not know, it's a bit of an unclear, unpredictable scenario at the moment. I was looking at this level here, which we bounced off, so it looks like we're holding this level here, and therefore this is now becomes my reference point, this low. So this low, if we go below this low, then I'll be looking at a further breakdown. And if I just zoom in, and I was looking at this area first of all as a bounce here, this one, we did not do that, we didn't bounce, we broke down lower. Now this area I was looking at as the next point, we have not had a bounce here, where it looks like we are wicking below, and we may go lower still. Now so this area is now where I'll be looking to be interested in taking a buy, and if this region, this price point breaks structure, then this whole thing will be invalidated. Now I still favor the buy scenario, so if we do get a bounce here, let's just delete the previous markings. Because of the overall very, very large time frame on oil, I'll be looking for the move higher at some point, then retracement, and then moving higher to the top of this range. Now, because we're in the range, the probabilities are lower, less in our favor, and we may just get very choppy price action. It's been like that for many weeks, so it's unpredictable as it stands. I'm not really favoring this one for this week, if I'm honest. So we have to see how the price action fares. The safer option would be this high up here, which would be a break of significant structural area and would give us a sign that the probability is indeed to the upside. But if you want to take the riskier but more rewarding trade, it's around here. So that's the analysis on oil. At the moment, slightly unclear, I would say. So this may require a little bit more time. Again, because of the ranging market, this week could be another ranging week, and we could still be within this top and bottom. You see, bouncing from top to bottom. This is when we need to sit on our hands a bit more. Okay, so last but not least, Bitcoin. Let's go to Bitcoin. So we're expecting bullishness on the cryptos, Ethereum, Bitcoin I was looking at. And what we had is a move to the downside, retracement, and then we moved higher. I was looking at, if we just delete all of these for a minute. I was looking at this area down here, if you remember, as a retracement on the cryptos, and we have not had that yet. We have pushed up from here. Now the two scenarios, the two possibilities is, of course, if we do get a push down here, then yes, it will be a nice better price to go off from and then continue to the upside. But if that does not happen and we continue reaching higher, at the moment we've got a higher, then higher price breaking, clearly breaking this structure high. It's a bit tricky sometimes to get this right. Here's that structure high. So a break of that and then a pullback. Oops, let me just make it clearer. Pullback and a continuation to the buy side for a nice better price would be the idea here. Let's see how it fares. We really want to see some more stronger price action, clearer price action. At the moment, looking on the weekly, we did have that bullish momentum breaking this high right here, so the favoring the buy side really on Bitcoin there. And let's see where it plays out. At the moment, it's neither here nor there because we are not quite broken through this high, and in the long term we are in this, you can see this range right here. So if I zoom out, go to the weekly or the monthly, might be clearer here in this range. So really want to break out of that range and head higher before confirming the buy side. And a move lower would signify a nice better price. It would be worth the risk, so the probability would be in our favor a little bit more there. So at the moment, bullish on Bitcoin. So those are the charts for this week. Hope that helps you out and gives you a little bit of clarity. It's just the way that I'm looking at the moment. It's just a one kind of analysis. Always manage your risk and watch out for the news announcements, the economic calendar, as always, that could more likely than not sink in with some volatility in the market. So watch out for that. If you are placing a trade before that, factor that in to your setups and to your trades. And for now, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next week, as always, with some more setups, and I'm going to choose another few high probability charts to trade. All right, have a good trading week, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye for now.